The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Clark County, Nevada, on your new Pierce Fire apparatus, job number 39640. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting first on the front bumper. On the side angle, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. On the passenger side, a D handle gains you access into your front inlet. There are dual air horns just inside of the frame rails. Unit identifier 23, and as we move over to the driver's side, you'll find your top-mounted mechanical siren. Also, a storage location for your front hose with dry deck material and Velcro tie-downs. Let's move now to the cab face. On the outer edge of that, you'll find a marker turn indicator light. Just inside that location, you'll find your headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. High beam is located on the inside. Above that, emergency warning light cluster. Directly behind the Pierce logo is the release mechanism for gaining access into the front hood. Out to the A-pillars, where you'll find your mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. There are 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield and 5 identification clearance lights on the brow. You'll also find a forward-facing floodlight, emergency warning lights on the very top section of the roof, and located in the center, you'll find your Opticom. Let's take a look at the full view of the apparatus from the side, and we'll focus in on the cab section next. Starting first with your emergency warning light on the front bumper extension, you'll also find a side-facing camera located on the A-pillar, easily accessible with a gloved hand. These are the door lock and latch combination. They are keyed. Right next to that, you'll find backlit grab handles for gaining entry in and out of the cab while maintaining 3 points of contact. You'll also find a push-button combination lock for gaining access into the electric door locks, shoreline inlet, unit identifier, and as we move above that, you'll also find a side-facing scene light. And as we move toward the rear cab wall at the top section, you'll find a water tank level indicator, and then just to the rear of the cab above the notch area, an additional emergency warning light side facing. We'll skip through the pump panel area and jump right to the cab body section area, where you'll find your def fill location down in the lower portion, along with a fold-out step. As we move into the body section next, you'll find folding wheel chock storage in front and rear of the axle, a marker turn indicator light in front of the axle. You'll also find 2 pan doors for bottle storage and also your fill location. Directly over the rear axle is where you'll find your emergency warning light side facing, and then as we move toward the hatch compartments in the forward section and rear, you'll find side facing emergency warning lights. Along with at the rear, a side facing scene light. Let's move around to the rear of the apparatus. We'll start first with your brake, turn, and reverse light. Emergency warning light is just inside that location in the lower section, and then also in the upper section in the hatch area. A vertical ladder gains you access on the driver's side. As we move to the rear discharge, there are 2 located here, 2.5 inch in size. Backup camera recessed, and then also a traffic advisor built into the step area. As we move over to the right side, you'll find D-handle gains you access into your ladder storage, and then also you'll find additional storage in the upper section, along with a rear-facing scene light. Let's move around to the passenger side. All compartments are closed, and then we'll focus in now on the body section, where you'll find the exhaust located on this side. You'll also find your booster reel access located on this side, also in the upper hatch compartment. As we move forward into the pump panel space, we'll come back to this area. Onto the cab section where you'll find a side-facing camera. As we move now into the front bumper area, just a glimpse of the bumper extension. This is the storage location for your front inlet with a drop-down door. Also a swivel discharge at the rear portion in the storage area, dry deck material and Velcro tie down. Inside the hatch area, or hood area, you'll find fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. Also the overflow for your radiator. This is a non-fill location. And then also on the rear cab wall is where you're going to find your instructions for tilting the cab. Also a concealed switch located here for unlocking the vehicle if it's accidentally locked. Remote control push button here for cab tilt. It is a tethered button. Also the raise or lower indicator here just under this protected switch. And then also your visual sight gauge and dipstick for your power steering fluid. Let's move now to the front bumper on an angle here just to get a quick look. And then we'll move into the cab area. Let's first start when the door has been opened. The steps will auto deploy. As we move into the door panel, a fixed door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, window combination, and a grab handle. When plugged into Shoreline Power, your auto charge status center will display. These are the steps in the deployed position with the door open. This is your auto charge status center. When plugged into Shoreline Power, that becomes active. Also, the yellow placard indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, and cold tire inflation. This also has the fluid capacities for the component, fluid capacity, and then also the fluid type. As we move to the floorboard, you'll find your mechanical siren foot pedal located on the outer edge. About the left knee of the operator, you'll find your engine, transmission, ABS diagnostic port, tech module, and display port, along with your ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostics indicator, and regen inhibit switch. Moving just up from this location, you'll find your dash housing 4-way flashers, ignition and start switch, switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. This will engage or disengage all emergency warning lights, along with your headlight switch and panel switch, allowing you to brighten or dim lights within preview of the operator. To the right, you'll find your OK to engage your high idle indicator and switch. Up onto the dash cluster itself, transmission, oil, def level, and water temp on the left, volts, fuel, front air, and rear air on the right-hand side. In the center is your tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information will display on the tally lights located above and below the tachometer and speedometer, and then also in a digital display in the lower section between the tach and speedometer. Moving just to the right of this location, just a quick look here. We'll start in on the far left with your pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. It's the yellow diamond, which is your rear spring brake. Display screen, touch screen, and also function button. To the right, Allison transmission pad, informational note to pump and neutral. As we move to the right, you'll find your perimeter lights, electronic siren, fuel primer, and load manager. You'll also find your engine brake on and off switch for settings of low, medium, and high. And then also to the very far right, you'll find the mirror heat. Moving further to the right at the very top, we'll start with your air horn, siren brake for your mechanical siren, halo flash, front flood, driver's flood, passenger flood, and rear scene. Also some switches here, indicator for stationary OK to pump and roll. This is your water pump activation and foam pump activation, and an informational here for high temp hydraulic or low pressure indicator. Controls here for the flat and convex mirror, along with HVAC controls for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. Overhead, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, 10 feet 5 inches, the length of the vehicle, 33 feet 2 inches, gross vehicle weight rating, 49,800 pounds. If you make any adjustments to your vehicle that may affect any of these, please update this placard for the operator. Let's move just to the right where we have some additional switches. Starting first in the upper left-hand corner with your emergency master, roof light, front warning, and side warning. lower rear warning, upper rear warning, high beam flash, and your Opticom switch. When any of the switches have been activated, the light will illuminate around the switch, indicating green that they are on. To the right, electronic siren and PA speaker system. Further to the right is your traffic advisor. And then moving all the way to the far right is your AM/FM weather band radio. As we move to the center, you'll find a flashing "Do not move your apparatus." You may have a compartment door open or ajar, and also seatbelt information: red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green in the seat and belted. As we move to the midsection, you'll find 12-volt access via barrel style. Also, just a quick look toward the rear of the apparatus. There are 3 seats across the back wall. Let's move now to the exterior. Shoreline power and an indicator that you have battery power to the plug. Goodyear tires, steel wheel, visual sight gauge into the center of the axle. As we move now into the cab space, rear portion of the cab, affixed door panel, safety and warning placard information, electric window control, and door lock and latch. You'll also find overhead push on and off white or red lens lights, and also your intercom system. There is a center mounted EMS compartment or material resource area, and also 3 seats across the rear cab. In the forward section, you'll find your battery charger. When plugged into Shoreline power, that will be active, along with your cradle point located on the vertical surface. Overhead, you have additional storage compartments. There is power within inside those compartments for USB-A. Quick look at the center console area, where you can find a divider, adjustable shelf, and LED lighting, along with a switch. And on the very top section, USB power via USB-A. Compartment light located at the top. This is the switch. Inside the compartment with the netting open, you can see compartment storage and LED lighting. Just below this area, you'll find your access for oil and transmission daily checks. And then to the right side, roofline area behind the officer seat, additional storage with power. Let's move behind the officer seat, where you'll find an enclosed ventilated compartment for your unit radio. And now we'll move to the exterior. Starting with the crosslays, there are an upper crosslay and 2 lower crosslays. The upper crosslay and also a warning placard indicating entanglement hazard. In the lower section, 2 crosslays located here. In the notched section pump panel, we'll start in the upper left-hand corner. There are 2 2.5-inch discharges located here, locally controlled via ball valve. Also a warning indicating pressure hazard. In addition to your auxiliary foam fill location, some warning placard information here regarding foam failure. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure, along with a warning here regarding fall. When climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. Below that, you'll find an air inlet, and then down at the very bottom section, you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains, along with your 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet, locally controlled via the ball valve, female inlet. As we continue across the very bottom, color-coded and labeled discharge drains. This is also the fill location for your DEF tank, which happens to be a 7.3 US gallon tank. It is the blue cap. Fold-out step, which is tied to the do not move your apparatus if it's open. As we move into the pump panel area, we'll start in the upper left-hand corner at the top. If your pump is engaged from inside the cab, this light will be illuminating, indicating OK to pump. You also have a hydraulic PTO high temp indicator and a hydraulic PTO low PSI indicator, along with your foam level indicator. In the gray area is the master intake gauge and master discharge gauge, along with your
test gauge ports, which are currently plugged and are for testing purposes. To the right, PCM fault visual indicator and also audible alarm. As we move down, all of our color-coded and labeled discharge valves. As you move to the far right, your pressure throttle governor with built-in water tank level indicator. Let's move down where you'll find the recirculating line, also down below that. As we move just to the lower section is the tank fill and then also tank to pump, along with your deluge discharge. Moving just to the right in the red module, this is your Husky foam system control module. Moving further to the right, you'll find the driver rear discharge, and then also your fire pump primer push to prime air for at least 1,000 RPMs for best practices. Underneath, we have your Husky 12 foam system specifications and operating instructions, along with 2 electric valves. These are on the passenger side, which is a 2.5-inch discharge and a large diameter. Let's move down to the very bottom section of the pump panel where you'll find your intake relief valve. Instructions for its operation are on the panel. And then also your front inlet, which is an electric valve. This is the open and close for that front inlet, along with all your color-coded and labeled discharge drains. For foam system fill, this is inside the panel here, along with instructions for its operation. And also your emergency pump shift is located in this compartment also. We do have some driver side floodlights and an air horn located on the side vertical panel. In the compartment itself, you'll find when plugged into Shoreline Power, this outlet is active, along with a pull-out tray down in the lower section. As we move into the over wheel compartment, you'll find a adjustable shelf. Just in front of the rear axle, SCBA bottle storage for 3 bottles with retaining straps. As we move downward from this location, you'll find steel wheel and Goodyear tire. To the rear of the axle, bottle storage for 2 bottles, along with your ultra low sulfur diesel fill location. Moving now to the rear compartment, adjustable shelf located in this compartment, along with a pull-out tray in the lower section. The release for that tray is located on the right. All compartments open on the driver's side. Let's move around to the rear, identify a few things within this space. First, we'll start with the ladder fully extended for gaining access to go aloft. Also, as we look to the hose storage location, there are 2 hose bed dividers located at the top. Also, a warning placard indicating entanglement hazard. Because of those lines coming from aloft, there is the possibility of entanglement, and also a roller shutter cover located at the top section. As we move toward the rear of the apparatus, we have our traffic advisor, backup camera, and also some warning placards here regarding pressure hazard, climbing on or off the vehicle, and not riding on the vehicle while it is in motion. Also, the 2.5-inch discharges are located at this location. Roll-up compartment, we have a tray in the top section and also a pull-out tray in the lower section. Release is going to be on the lower right, along with a 12-volt DC outlet. As we move to the ladder storage area, you'll find your 10-foot folding and then also pike pole storage and D-handle storage. In the lower section, 24-foot extension and a 14-foot roof ladder. Moving just below this section, you'll also find a cupped switch for your rear scene light and a cup switch for your hose bed lights. We're now on to the passenger side of the vehicle. We have an adjustable shelves. Into the over wheel compartment where you have SCBA bottle storage and also a fill location on this side. Ultra low sulfur diesel, so we can fill from passenger and driver side. 2 SCBA bottle storage locations in the first compartment toward the rear. As we move toward the forward compartment, you'll find 2 SCBA bottle storage locations with retaining straps and an oxygen bottle storage. You'll also find your exhaust located on this side. Extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist, especially during regen. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. In the forward compartment, we have adjustable shelf and also a pull-out tool board. There are 2 located in the lower section, along with 12-volt power via barrel style. These are intended for mounting of your SCBA packs. At the upper portion, you'll find a cutout section for your booster reel rewind, and then also in this compartment in the lower section is the area for storing your Little Giant ladder. Same configuration as we had on the passenger as we have on the driver's side for the crosslays. Moving to the lower panel here, you'll find your strainer located here, large diameter pump inlet on the passenger side. You'll also find a warning placard here regarding fall hazard. Never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion, and also when climbing onto the vehicle or off, face the vehicle, along with a pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. The 2.5-inch discharge is an electrically controlled valve, and therefore there is an override for that. As we move down to the lower section, you'll find an auxiliary passenger side 2.5-inch female inlet locally controlled via the ball valve, along with our large diameter discharge, green in color, which is an electric valve, so therefore we have an override for it also in case there is electric failure. This is tied to the do not move your apparatus once it's been extended. Underneath you'll find your front inlet drain. And as we move into the cab section, let's start first with the rear cab portion. When the door is open, the step will auto deploy. As we move to the door panel, you'll find safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, window control. Overhead, push on and off red or white lens lights, your intercom system, and stereo speakers. In the compartment here, you'll find a fixed seat in the center and 2 fold-down seats on the outer edge. We're back to the exterior where you'll find your unit identifier along with a push-button door lock access code, Goodyear tire, steel wheel, and also visual sight gauge into the center axle. We're now into the officer space. Once again, when the door opens, the steps will auto deploy. On the door panel itself, you'll find electric window control, grab handle, door lock and latch combination. There is also an additional screen located on this side for the officer, along with an airbag located on this side also, and 12-volt access via USB-A. As we look overhead in the officer space, we'll find, starting on the right and moving toward the inside or left, your unit radio, switch location here, which has air horn, siren brake, front flood, and passenger flood, your Firecom volume and squelch control, and then also your wireless Firecom base station. And then just to the left, you'll find pump pressure, water tank level indicator, and foam tank indicator. All compartments open now. The front inlet has an additional drain toward the front portion of the vehicle. As we move up on top of the vehicle, we'll start first in the dunnage area. In the Ford cab section, this is a non-walking surface, and therefore we have these additional indicators indicating that it's a non-walking surface. In the dunnage area, you'll find your master stream device. This is a TFT radius, along with your booster line, which has free tension spool and a push button up on the top, and also a manual rewind on the top section of the reel. As we move to the Husky 12, this is the hydraulic oil for that system. There is also a visual sight gauge on that tank, indicating level of hydraulic fluid. Top fill for the water tank, and then also top fill for your foam tank. Would like to point out a warning placard indicating foam failure. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. As we move toward the rear, you'll find hatch compartments on each side There are 2 on the passenger and 2 on the driver's side, front and rear. LED lighting and dry deck material inside those compartments. 2 hose bed dividers that are movable, along with your roller shutter cover. This is your roller shutter cover in the closed position. The next set of images are that of the cab tilted, of the engine and chassis. These are the tow hooks for towing the vehicle. As we move to the forward section, these are operational use tow hooks, 6,000 pounds direct pull, not intended for towing. As we move to the cab tilt, once the cab has been tilted, please install the safety bar. Do not lower the cab onto the safety bar. Maintain equal pressure on both left and right cylinders. There'll be no additional audio from this point on. Congratulations, Clark County Fire Department, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 39640. If you have any questions, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.